You know, they asked me, they say, you remember New Orleans Superdome? They had a hurricane and caved in and stuff. I was like, I had a buddy, Andrew Aaron Zeller, and Debbie Roberts, and the Star Advocate, Florida Today. We had like the whole front page of the sports section. It was awesome, you know, and full color, the whole front page. Maybe I'd talk to the Florida Today and get that. Over the years, I lost my scrapbook, with all the first place medals and trophies and everywhere I went. And I talked about this last summer, but most people didn't understand, you know, the Chinese and the Japanese and, Oriental people, they understand, so how do you get some of those other people to understand? Well, we went over to New Orleans to the Superdome in 1996. First place, never lost. I lost by 1/10 of a point to gain a victory. Now I challenge you to expand your horizons and your vision, to be like, what is martial arts? And I challenge you to look up the definition of martial arts. You know, I had a very good teacher from over there. You know, his name was Master KJ Lee. You know, and maybe my brother would take a little bit of intelligence from this. You know, I go to New Orleans and I'm like, you know, wow, me and my buddy Andrew were looking up. I'm like, man, that looks like the bottom of like the Independence Day movie thing. It's pretty cool. We're standing up there in the viewing boxes. The people, they look so small from way up there. And, we go out onto the floor and we're competing and stuff. And I had this little Japanese kid, man. And everybody heard me tell the story last summer. I was like, I did this perfect kick. I always threw my kicks a little sloppy, that way I didn't hurt anybody because after all, it was just a competition. So, but I threw one a little too perfect and he did like a flip and land on the floor. And I was like, so I reached down to help him up. I want you to take notice of where I was at the time. I was in New Orleans Superdome, you know? So there was another kid there and he was fighting mad like a dog, man. He was just, it was just a friendly competition. And we got the full contact, pads on and everything else, the headgears, mouthpiece, all that stuff. And this kid's, man, like trying to draw blood and all this other stuff. And they disqualified him, you know. I wonder if people realize, the police and the sheriffs and stuff, they're not trying to use excessive force. And even in the New Orleans Superdome, it's like they disqualified that kid for using excessive force. That was the Junior Olympics, before people go to the Olympics, to teach them about, how to compete with honor, It's something the Americans and the Chinese and the Japanese people and people all over the world talk about, honor. But a lot of people, they don't understand what honor means. When you look up the definition of martial arts, you'll find out that it's more than just physical contact, It's all about the mind, how to be righteous. So when I kicked that kid and he did this flip and he landed on the floor, the referees are hollering, fight, 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 as I'm trying to reach down and help him off the floor. If I had any kind of international intuition of how to have a conversation, that would be the conversation right there. It'd be like, here I am in the middle of New Orleans where they had all this violence and stuff at the time. And I'm like, well, they disqualified the one kid for excessive force. And here I am, 18 years old. I done made this kid do a flip and land on the floor. And I reached down and I helped him pick up. Although everybody around me is hollering, fight, fight, fight. And I'm like, no, I'm reaching down and I'm helping this kid up off the floor. Me and that little Japanese kid, when we had this long conversation afterward because we had a respect for each other. And the Japanese kid told me, he says, man, you should have won. I says, I lost by 1/10 of a point. But, I was like, they're hollering, fight, fight, fight. And we're just here competing, man. So I'm like, I'm trying to help you off the floor. Martial arts is martial arts. And then self-defense. You see? So if everybody could have a little bit of martial arts, then we wouldn't have to have such physical self-defense. And that is a lesson about how not to use excessive force. Now, I have some friends of mine looking at some stuff going, well, that makes sense. I says, yes, it sure does. In New Orleans. I says, man, those people in New Orleans need help. So we flew over there on an airplane, landed, and did the Junior Olympics. So that everybody in the New Orleans Superdome could see that one kid at that one moment, that one time, say, look, this kid just did a flip and landed on the floor. And here he is helping him off the floor instead of what the referees was telling him. Fight, 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 fight. Why? He's already on the ground. You don't kick a man when he's down. You reach down, you give him a hand, you help him up.